I'm Ian Baker, and it's time to meet your new Coleman Light travel trailer. I'm going to go over some basic operation, kind of show you how it works so you can get out camping. Starting off right up front, folks, this is a power tongue jack. Very simple and easy to use. You'll see a switch right here on the left. Now this one is a Bastion. There are a couple different models of Bastion power tongue jacks. It could be an LCI depending on how or when it was built, but all of them will operate very similarly. The one switch will either say up and down or retract and extend. This one says up and down, and just as the name implies, if you push the up button, the tongue goes up. If you push the down button, it will go down. If it says retract and extend, if you extend the tongue, that will lift it up. If you retract the tongue, that will bring it down. So depending on what model you have, again, will depend on the verbiage. Right next to that is a switch for a light. Again, doesn't matter what brand it is, there will be a light on there, simple on-off switch, and there will be a manual override. This particular one in the Bastion unit has this plug right back here. You just lift that up and out, and you can see the little hex head down there, which our hand tool will then go on, so that way you can manually crank it up and down. And I will show you where that hand tool is hiding at in just a moment. There we go. We'll get that in a second. Right behind that, though, is your propane tanks. This one has dual 20-pound propane tanks with a cover. I'm going to take the cover off just to kind of show you a little bit easier. To take the cover off, by the way, there's a bungee strap on the bottom. Pretty easy here. Just take that off like that. That will allow us to take the cover off to access those two 20-pound tanks. Now you'll see a couple different things on here. In order to take these tanks off, you need to refill them. You'll unscrew this. That will allow this part to come out and release the tank. Obviously redo it to make sure those tanks are held in nice and tight when they are full. What you'll also notice right here in the center is your selector switch. Whatever way this is pointing, there's a little arrow on there. Whichever tank it is pointing to, that is the tank it is feeding off of. So if we want to use this tank, point it in that direction, we'll then open up the tank, and that will allow propane to start flowing into our RV. Right behind that, this is where your battery will go, folks. Currently, I just have a battery box hooked up, but you will have a battery sitting right here. You want to hook that up. That will give you 12-volt power. That 12-volt will power most things on this RV, like your lights, your tongue jack, your awning, your stabilizer jacks. This one has power stabilizer jacks. You will need 120, which will be your shore power. I'll show you in a little bit, to run things like your air conditioner, TVs, Edison plugs. All of those will run off 120. Coming around to the side, this one is equipped with solar prep. So if you would like solar, Furion is the brand you will want to use, as that is what is prepped here. So that way you can plug it in nice and simple. Your pass-through storage is very easy to use. It does have a magnetic catch, so it'll stay up just like that. You'll have a couple switches in here. One will turn on the switch for the pass-through. The other one, which is located right up here, will turn your front light caps on and off. We saw those LED lights running the cap. That switch right there is to turn them on and off. Dropping down to your power stabilizer jacks. Here we go. This one, as I mentioned earlier, kind of like the power tongue jack, this one says extend and retract. So we'll want to extend the jacks in order to move those down. This front switch will operate the front too. These ones are moving together. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes one leg will drop much further than the other. That is okay. Just know that when one leg kind of gets to the bottom, then the other one will start dropping. You're going to want to lower these until both are touching, and you'll kind of hear the motor almost start to struggle just a little bit. Just like that, and then you want to stop. If you continue, it'll try to actually lift the trailer up, and these are not leveling jacks. That will bend and break them. So you want to do it just to where they're nice and sturdy. What those are is they're stabilizer jacks to help stabilize the trailer so it's not moving around as you're walking around inside. The steps, you'll have a couple different kind of step systems. If you only have one step system, it'll be most likely be the LCI solid step. I'll show you in just a minute. If you have two steps, one of them will be a little bit more old school like this. Very simple and easy to use. This is the LCI step system, and just like that, it folds up. You'll also have this little bar to pull it out. You'll have another bar right here to deploy that step. They're super simple to pull out, and that will be your secondary entrance. Like I say, I'll show you primary steps in just a minute. This one comes equipped with the Edge 12-volt power awning. There'll be a control to extend and retract that inside. LED light strip you will see is included as well. A couple speakers, but those are connected to that multimedia center inside. Certain models will have something like this, where you can take the TV from inside, drop it right here outside, so you can use one TV both inside and out, and that whole arm on the TV actually comes off and drops right down in here, which is pretty cool. Connections for that should be somewhere nearby. fresh water inlet. If you do not have city water at your campsite, you want to make sure to fill the fresh water tank. So you'll want to make sure you hunt that down on the RV. It will be in different places depending on the model. You'll see your furnace right here. This is a Dometic furnace. You want to make sure you're not putting any chairs or anything close to this vent, as that is hot. Super simple and easy to start. You have a thermostat inside. You turn it on. As long as there's propane flowing, it should fire right up for you. Your main step, as I mentioned, is back here. This is the Solid Step by LCI. Very easy operation on this one. It actually folds up into the door like so. You'll see this lever. You want to turn that, so that will free it. If it's like this, it's going to be locked in place. You can turn it either way. That will allow the steps to drop down. You also have fully adjustable feet with the pins on both sides. One thing you want to pay attention to is make sure that this top plate is sitting right on this threshold. If it's too high, if it sits up really high like this, what happens is you go to close the door will hit right here and you will cause damage to the door, which you certainly do not want. Secondary control right here. This is for the rear stabilizer jacks. This is your grab handle. This does fold, so in travel, you want to lift it up so it folds across the door. When you get to your destination, you can pop it right back into place. You'll have your bumper here. It will come with some square tubular end caps, so you can store your sewer hose if you want. This one comes with a detachable power cord. It'll be either 30 amp or 50 amp depending on the model. If you don't know, there will be a sticker that will tell you exactly what it is. Also, it depends on the number of prongs on the male end. If it has 3 prongs on the male end, then it will be a 30 amp. If your power cord has 4, then it'll be 50. If you have a 50 amp unit, I do recommend getting what they call a dog bone or a step down from the store to take you from 50 amp to 30 amp, as not all campsites will have 50 amp power, so keep that in mind. Making our way a little bit further over here, we'll come on around to the off-door side. Just a couple quick things I want to hit on. One of them will be your termination. Will be located right down here, and again, it will be in different places depending on the RV, sometimes more toward the back, sometimes here. But all of your Coleman lights will have color-coded valves on there, which is great. So gray handle for a gray tank, black handle for your black tank. Outside shower should be located somewhere on the unit. Again, most of the Coleman lights have an outside shower with both hot and cold water access, as well as a black tank flush to wash out your black tank. And again, somewhere on the unit, whether it's here or more toward the back, you will also have your city water inlet. As soon as we step inside, you will see the main control panel. Now, a couple of really cool things. One of them, you'll see the tank monitoring panel is built right in. So simple enough, you just push a button and everything lights up. Now you will notice there's a gray tank 1 and 2. Your unit might only have one gray tank, so gray 2 will pretty much always show empty. You'll also see in your tank monitoring panel will be your battery, so it'll tell you the health of your battery, so if you know that if that has to be recharged or not. And over to the side is your awning. Again, you have extend and retract. So extend obviously will make it go out, retract will bring it right back. It is a push and hold situation, so you're not just gonna push and let go or it'll stop moving. You will push and hold. On the Coleman Light series, they put in a Dometic water heater. Cool thing about this is you will see it has a switch for gas and electric, and that's because it can run off both. And the cool thing about that is if you want to run one, either propane or off electric, you can do one at a time, or you can turn both of them on at the same time for quick recovery. Just make sure if you do turn on electric that there is water in the hot water tank, or in the water tank rather. Otherwise you will burn up your element, and that's not something you want to do. Water pump will be right next to it. This is how you will get water pressure if you do not have city water. So if you're drawing from your water tank, you'll want to turn the water pump on. You can just leave this switch on. It will pressurize the system, and then once it is pressurized, the pump will shut itself off until you draw water, in which case it will have to repressurize the system for a second. Exterior lights, this will operate the LED light in your awning. Then interior lights will be for the main lights on the ceiling. You will have some secondary lights like this one right here underneath the counter, and right in the, or underneath the cabinet here, sorry. But right in the center of the light is a button. You just push that in and that will turn those secondary lights on and off. Lastly, if your Coleman Light is equipped with a slide room, this one says in and out. So to take it out, you will push and hold out, and that will of course allow the slide to slide out. With the control panel covered, let's take a look at our fuse panel. So somewhere in the Coleman Light will be your fuse panel. You will see on one side you will have your 120 breakers. On the other side will be your 12-volt fuses. So if you're having electrical issues, that's generally one of the things you want to check, again, depending on if it is a 120 or 12 volt system. Another one is a GFCI plug, which I'll show you kind of what that looks like. It can be, again, located a couple different places. Generally, you'll have one somewhere near the kitchen area. Let's hit on the bathroom real quick. You'll see foot flush lever toilet in your Coleman Light. Pretty simple and easy to use. Push it down just a little bit to get water flowing into the bowl. So if you just need more water, that is how you do it. To flush it, you will push and hold all the way down. You also have a travel lock right here on your shower. In order to operate this, you just kind of lift this rubber up and over on the handle, and that will allow the shower doors to open. Again, when you go to travel, you'll want to put that back on, so that way your shower doors aren't moving around as you're traveling down the road. Making our way into the kitchen, you will see the Dometic fridge freezer combo. Now again, depending on year of manufacture, you may have a couple different options here for refrigerators. This one right here we're looking at is the Dometic. To open it, the easiest way to do it, what I tell people is if you take your fingers right here, you can kind of put your thumb right against there, or even just the fingers alone, and that will allow the door to open up. And then if we take a look inside here, I'll show you right up top. You'll see a couple different controls on this one. This will be your master on and off switch. And then you will see right next to that, you have auto. So if you have it on auto, it will prioritize 120 over propane. If you want to run it off propane, you can click that out. You can see it kind of shows when the button is up, it will be off gas. That will be your propane. Again, otherwise you can put it in auto. And if you don't have 120, it'll automatically switch to propane for you anyway. That's the automatic switch over part of it. Moving a little bit further, Greystone cooktop. Now again, it could be Greystone, it could be Furion. Both of them work very, very similarly. You'll see it's recessed with this glass cover. This just folds up and back like so. You'll have 3-burner cooktop. The front one will be high output, and it will show you which burner is which. This very furthest one is the oven. The really cool thing about both the Greystone and the Furion is that you have spark igniter. The neat thing about this spark is it's not just for the cooktops, but it is for the oven as well. So you turn that to the flame setting here, you click the sparker, and that will light up your oven. Super quick and easy. You don't have to put a match or anything down there. Now, if you have a Coleman Light with a 2-burner cooktop, it's generally a Suburban unit, that one will still require you to use a match or some other flame source to get that lit. There also will be a button with light up knobs. That same button controls the light in the oven. Let's move in a little bit further here. Making our way to the back, I do want to show you the GFCI plug. This is where it's located in this particular model. Again, it will be a little bit different in all models, but you'll see how it kind of sticks out, it protrudes. That will be your GFCI switch. So if you have some outlets that aren't working, you can hit that and reset it. For the furniture, a lot of your Coleman Light models will have this style sofa. It's a really cool sofa. It has what they call incliners built into both sides. So you have your little control right here. You pull that, and that gives you a little spot to put your feet up, nice and comfy. To push this back in, what you'll do is you'll just kind of take your heels on the front of it and pull it in towards you, and you'll see when I pull in, it automatically just brings that down. Super simple and easy to use. So bear that in mind. If you're sitting here and it keeps coming in on you, you just have to move your feet back a little bit further. You're putting too much pressure on the front of it, and that's what brings it in. You'll also see it's a jackknife sofa. This little strap is the handle, so you can lift it up and drop it down just like so. Super simple and easy. To put a jackknife sofa away, I recommend grabbing the back right here, reaching over across on this other back side, I guess this would be the front. Put your hand in the front here, reach across the back side, kind of bring them together. That'll help the scissor action, help it drop down. For the dinette, a couple things. One, this does drop down into a bed. You'll have to remove these posts from both the flange and the floor, and there's another one in the table. So you'll lift that table up and out, remove the posts. The table will then drop down. It'll sit along these right here. Take the back cushions. You'll put these right on top when it's dropped down, and that will create your bed. You'll also see that on the Coleman Light, it lights up underneath. There will be a switch somewhere nearby in order to turn that on and off. And let's talk a little bit about TV and entertainment center. So as I mentioned outside, this mount right here, you'll see where it kind of like we saw outside, how it has this little bracket. You can take this mount and TV, the whole thing off. Just make sure you unplug everything. And then you can take it right outside, drop it in place. And that way you have your TV outside. You don't have to have a second TV. Underneath that is your multimedia center. This does control the speakers in here as well as outside. It is Bluetooth capable, has NFC capability, HDMI and USB ports there on the front. Fireplace right down underneath. In order to run that, folks, you will need 120. So you're going to have shore power or a generator. That one will not run off your 12-volt battery. Now, if you're, for whatever reason, if you have 120 and you can't get your fireplace to work or you can't get your AC to work, the reason probably is this switch right here. If you have a 30 amp unit, you'll have this switch generally somewhere by the fireplace. One direction will let the fireplace work, the other one will allow the AC to work. It flips back and forth. Because it's a 30 amp, you can't have both on at the same time. It's too large of a power draw. Maybe asking yourself, Ian, how do I turn on the AC? Well, you'll have a thermostat that looks something just like this. It's super simple and easy to use. Push it once, you'll see it goes into fan. Push it again for cool, that's your AC. One more time, furnace for heat. Obviously, you have your adjustments right over here to adjust the temp up and down. All right, and that wraps up our introduction and basics of the Coleman Light Travel Trailer. For more in-depth information or how-to or troubleshooting videos, check out our huge library available for you to help make camping fun and easy.